Well, good afternoon. This is going to be a short video about our stand. I had another breeder contact me and ask me how I built this stand myself. This is my very first stand that I made, and I have modified it a little bit and used it for our goats. So I'm hoping that my camera makes it easy for us to see it. I'll put a picture at the end of what it actually looks like, but I wanted to go over the measurements. This stand is 45 inches long, which honestly it probably should be 48 inches long because some of your bigger bucks don't fit on it very good. Take my rubber mat off. It is 22 inches wide. I have an extra board here. I use that for the ramp because I have found that having a ramp is easier. This is a 2x12 with metal on the end, so that extra board is for that ramp to sit on. It sits about 21 inches off the ground. For me, it could be a little higher, but this is good enough. It depends on how tall you all are. If you're tall, you'll want it up higher. I have a ring on it just in case at the time I was milking, just in case I needed it, tie the foot down. Sometimes you have to tie does foot down so they don't kick the bucket around. And it's really humid. It's getting ready to rain. I use this little feeder to put alfalfa pellets in. I found that they, as you can see, I moved it. They respond to food very easily. So anyway, the most complicated part of this is probably up here. You don't have to have this board. This board is for the feeder to sit in. You have your feeder, sits down in that crack right there, and that's what that's for. And I usually push it all the way over to one side or the other. So your measurements up here, of course, is 22 inches wide. This board is 19¼ inches. This board is 16 inches. There are 2, 3, 4. There's 4 16-inch boards. These are 2x4 boards. They go down at the bottom down here, one here, and one in the back to stabilize it. If you made this wider, it would be more stable. If you put it on a nice flat surface, it's not so bad. But if it's not, it does wiggle and wobble around. So just so you know that. One board. This board is a 60 inches tall. It's 5 foot tall. Goats with horns don't have, they do have a little bit of a problem putting them in. If you have 2 of these 60-inch boards, That's why this one is cut off. This was a 60-inch when I just had the disc butted goats, but when I started using it for the few that have horns, their heads wouldn't fit, so that's why I needed to make it wider. These two boards, they can both be the same, or they can both be different. They are 36 inches. I use this board to hold that up. I did cut out for the fatter necked goats. I had one break it, so it got broke somehow, but anyway, that's why this is smooth. It was notched out like this one, so their head would fit, or their neck would fit, but it got broke a long time ago. So down here, this is just a bolt. It goes from this board all the way through. It's not tight, so it does go back and forth. It's a real simple design. I have two of these. I do have one. The same exact stand is in my milk shed. So, but it's, like I said, it's a pretty simple design. If you can build things, you can build this. It's really not that hard. I built this myself. I do have some pictures of the stages that I built it. I will end this with pictures with the measurements that I have here for this particular stand. This is in inches. This is the stand. I've been using this particular stand, since I started with Boer goats in 2016. I made this so that I could give them their shots, trim their feet, all that good stuff. I did eventually make ramps. The ramps are actually for the tote that I put in the back of the truck, but they do work for the stands. Here in the States, you can buy a metal stand that folds up, and you can, so you don't have to take up so much space. But this one here, it'll last a while because it's inside. If you're going to have it outside all the time, you probably should paint it or get treated lumber or whatever. But this is not treated. This is all pine. You'll notice that everything is 2x4s except for these back boards here. They're 2x6s. And the reason they're 2x6s is I ran out of scrap boards. This was all made out of scrap that we just had laying around, except for the feeder. The feeder's the only thing that wasn't. The ring used to be one of my cross ties for the horses. You will notice that I have this eye, and this is a dog collar that I use. Some of them have to be wider, some of them not, but you can use the chain on it and just snap it. With Hercules, he's so used to getting up here that he doesn't really have to be tied in. If I have to do something major on him, I do put him in the squeeze chute. But that's it. That is the stand. So thank you for watching, and say goodbye, Leslie. As I was editing this video, I noticed that I didn't talk about what I used for the floor. It is actually 1/4 inch plywood, but you can use anything for the floor. It also has braces. There's 3 braces across the floor, because some of these goats are kind of heavy. So those were also 16-inch pieces. But if you need more measurements or have more questions, please make sure that you leave them in the comments, or you can even email me if you like. Thank you for watching. Don't forget, like, subscribe, share with your friends, and we'll see you next time.